Hello everyone, today we're gonna take a look at the TTMasters game played between Maxim Dojo and Ryoko, Integra. It was the top board from TTMasters 1, played on December 1st, 2020. The time for the game was 15 minutes and 60 seconds. Maxim is a very strong Belarusian player. He had proven that by getting straight 9 wins in the tournament. But Integra is also a very strong Ukrainian representative with 7 wins, 1 loss and 1 unplayed game. So let's take a look at the game. Maxim was Sente and Integra was Gote, and the game started. Maxim chose Ibisha and Integra chose third 5 rook. You can see that Maxim moved the king early to here, which gives him a little bit of chance to attack over here. Immediately bishop exchange and bishop drop to 6-5. Usually you can counter this bishop drop by dropping your bishop to here, where it would protect the 4-3 square while counterattacking on 6-7 square, but as you can see, because Maxim moved the king first, it means this kind of counter is not possible anymore and different counter is necessary. If you are a third 5 rook player, make sure to take account where is the king before you move the rook. If you wanna avoid this particular aggressive line, make sure to close the bishop line quickly. You can see Integra going for that aggressive counter. Bishop drop to 5-5. There is a thing about beginners that they're afraid of exchanging the rook for a bishop, but actually in opening like this, if we were to take the rook, the bishop pair will be much stronger in the opening phase than the pair of rooks. You can see there is not so much space for the rook drop, while there is many ways to activate the bishop, so this wouldn't be favorable for Gote, and therefore Sente calmly defends the lance by knight jump. Here it's a very good move to remember, 5 to king. Usually we wanna move it here, but later on you're gonna see why this square is better. The bishop promotes, the rooks get activated, and now both pieces attack the knight, so Maxim is forced to defend it with the gold. So the difference here is that Sente do have a horse, but Gote have 2 very active pieces, so one would say that this is still a very good fight for both sides. We continue. You can see 7-4 pawn trying to limit this horse's movement, and here is the move I was talking about before. If the king would be on any of those 2 squares, that move would be actually a check. Because the king is on 5-2, we are able to play a different move in this position. Gote makes an escape route for the rook and develops their pieces naturally. Here Maxim makes sure that this knight is really well defended. Integra develops the knight, and here Maxim tries to activate the horse somewhat. In the following moves you can see that he offered horse-rook exchange, which was accepted. As I said before, the fact that Sente had a horse was an advantage for Sente, and here it might seem that the disadvantage disappeared, and indeed computer analysis also agree. Sente is actually at huge disadvantage in this position, mostly because this bishop is active while this rook isn't, and the bishop in hand will be easier to use than this rook in hand, since Gote camp is invulnerable for any rook drops. We continue. Integra goes very aggressively, trying to promote the knight here, get a horse of her own, and here Maxim goes for a strong counter, rook drop. If the bishop were to move away, the knight will die, so here we drop the bishop, another exchange happens, and another bishop, another exchange happens. Now all the big pieces that Gote had are in the hand, and we're waiting for interesting variations to continue. Integra dropped the bishop to 5-4, trying to attack this square in front of the silver, and the knight finally will be falling down. Or is it? You can see that there is a great counter drop, rook to 4-7, which targets the gold while attacking this pawn. The gold will go up and the rook will get promoted. This rook will next target this move, so Maxim will try to defend. It is maybe a little clearer now that Sente is in trouble, because the king's shape is being disturbed, especially after this move. And not having rook activated, Gote can do whatever she wants. So here, taking the 5-6 pawn, dragon just dances all around. Here Maxim uses the gold to pressure the dragon, which is a very good move, and finally uses the silver. Because the dragon is so close, by using those pieces we'll be able to activate our pieces while pressuring the dangerous pieces. Here the scary silver comes up, and a knight exchange happened. This move is a very good move. It attacks the knight's head. The only option is to escape, but as you can see, after knight exchange, this pawn is still here, pressuring the king directly. It's a very good position for Integra, and the only question is how do we continue attacking? And this is where the mistake happened. 7-5 knight, indeed it looks like it's attacking the king's head, but there is one tiny problem with it. After 3 moves, you can see that the bishop dies. Here is when Maxim took the advantage back. So what should we do in this position? Actually, we should predict the fact that the bishop is in trouble and drop the knight to 4-4 to attack the gold. There are many interesting sequences here. Most important is to notice that if gold ever comes here, we actually have this knight sacrifice, which would allow us to retake the gold and activate the dragon. And the same line will appear in many sub-variations where the dragon will be able to get activated. If the gold would go here, then we can simply continue attacking by using the other knight and forking both of those pieces. So this would be very favorable for Gote. But by playing one mistaken move, everything changes. Shogi is a scary game, and here Maxim punches back, counters strongly with pawn 3-6 as well as knight drop to 4-6. The bishop is dead, there is nothing we can do, so Integra decides to counterattack. This type of move where you promote and then drop it afterwards, we funnily call it in Shogi word a time suji, similar to the word tesuji, a skillful move. But in this case, time suji meaning that you play for time. It is based on the assumption that probably both players are in Byomi, and by sacrificing this one pawn, you don't gain anything on the board apart from the thinking time. So it's a funny trick you can remember for the future if you ever start panicking in the Byomi. The game continues, and it's Maxim's turn to do scary stuff. He takes the bishop, and then takes the knight. So not only we took the bishop, we also took this knight, and as you can see, the position calmed down completely. The knight here is lonely with the pawn. The dragon is far away currently. All those squares are protected. Maxim will be very calm from now on. But Integra drops 5-5 knight, trying to follow up an attack here. Although, speaking of numbers, it's only a double knight attack, so what you should do is try to counter. Maxim drops the bishop, targeting knight drop to 4-4, king, dragon, fork. So Integra escapes, and here 5-4 gold, not only activating the gold, but also forcing your opponent to attack. A very strong move. And here Integra indeed attacks, take the silver with the check, and drops a dubious 3-9 silver because it has no follow-up. Maxim comes down and he moves the rook. 4-3 square is protected by the silver is taken for free. Pawn drop, calmly escaping the gold. Pawn promotion to 7-7. So now we are dealing with token attack. When we promote this pawn, we will have 4 attacking tokens. But as you can see, early king escape, and look how slow those tokens look right now. Gote's attack is very predictable. You can read how many moves it will take them to attack, and the king still will be quite safe on this side of the board. Once your king is this safe, you don't try to rebuild your castle, you just try to slowly build up a strong attack, and this is what Maxim does. 3-5 knight drop, and after silver is being taken, 4-4 pawn drop, using this bishop very beautifully. Silver drop doesn't help, pawn promotion, gold takes, knight takes, dragon takes is strongly opposed with 4-4 gold drop, fork on dragon and silver, therefore the dragon needs to be sacrificed. And here, instead of retaking the silver, we go for speed, 5-3 gold, a checkmate threat. There is not much defense against it, therefore Integra goes for check and bishop drop, going for some form of hishi, but the king is still safe. And this is a winning mate for Maxim. I'm pretty sure, dear viewer, you can find mate in one, but for some reason Maxim didn't go for a simple silver drop, he went for knight drop and a rook drop to finish off. And this is the position where Integra resigned. And so Maxim, after winning 9 games in the tournament, reserved himself a teaching game against Katagami-sensei, and his special wish was to play an equal game, which was quite surprising. But it's not surprising when you think of Belarus as the strongest European country of shogi players, and Maxim being a very ambitious player. We ended up deciding on giving the center handicap to Maxim, and the game was very heated, but that's in the next video, so see you again!